everyone. Welcome to Storytime in Seacliff. Our clue on yesterday, Oberon gave us a crow. I wonder how many of you guessed. The name of our story today is Crow Boy. Let's get going. Again, I have to warn you, it is a very sad part, but as you know, it has a very, very happy ending. All our stories have happy endings. So let's get started. Crow Boy. On the first day of school in Japan, our village school, there was a boy missing. He was found hidden away in the dark place underneath the schoolhouse, sort of underneath the porch area. None of us knew him. He was nicknamed Chibi because he was very small, and Chibi means tiny boy. Well, this little boy was afraid. He was afraid of our teacher, and he couldn't learn anything. He was afraid of the children, and he couldn't make friends with any of them because he was so afraid. So he was left alone most of the time when it was time for lessons, and then during recess he usually played alone. He was always at the end of the line, always at the foot of the class. Soon Chibi began to sort of twist his eyes around so he couldn't see what was going on, if he didn't like what the children might have been doing. He found ways, though. He'd look up at the clock, he would draw, he would look out the window. And on the playground, if he closed his eyes and listened, Chibi could hear many different sounds near and far. He could hear the sound of insects as they were crawling or flying about. He could sometimes look out the window. There he is out on the playground. Sometimes the children called him a slowpoke because he was usually a little bit behind everybody. He trudged to school, though, every day, and he always carried the same lunch. It was a rice ball wrapped in lettuce. And when it rained, he would always wear a zebra grass raincoat. So, day by day, 5 years went by, and we were now in the 6th grade. It was the last class in the school before we'd go on to the middle school. Our new teacher was Mr. Asobi. Oh, he was such a friendly man, and he had such a kind smile. Mr. Asobi would often take the class out to a hilltop behind the school, and he was pleased to see and to learn that Chibi knew so many places where wild grapes would grow and there were wild potatoes. He was also amazed to find out how much Chibi knew about all of the flowers that were in our class garden. And he liked Chibi's drawings very much, and he always hung them up around the classroom. And sometimes he and Chibi would talk about some of his special drawings. He had a very unusual handwriting. Well, everybody was shocked when it was time for the talent show at the end of the year because Chibi was going to be in it. He had never been in any of the shows before. What is he going to do? Everyone asked one another. Mr. Asobi stood up and announced what Chibi was going to do. Chibi was going to imitate the voices of crows. Crows? Crows? Everyone asked, very bewildered. And sure enough, Chibi got up, and first he imitated the voices of newly hatched crows, little baby crows, and then he'd make the mother crow's voice and the father crow's voice. Sometimes he would stop and he would show how the crows cried early in the morning, and he showed how the crows cried when the village people had had an unhappy accident. He showed how the crows would call when they were happy. Everybody in the audience was taken in their minds to that far mountainside from which Chibi had come every day. In the end, to imitate a crow on an old tree, Chibi made a very, very special sound that came way, way deep down in his throat. Everybody could imagine exactly that far and lonely place where Chibi lived with his family. Then Mr. Asobi explained how Chibi had learned those crows, leaving his home every morning at dawn and arriving home at sunset every day for 6 long years. Every one of us cried, thinking how much we had been wrong about Chibi, how unkind we had been to him. Even the grown-ups wiped their eyes, saying, "Yes, yes, he is wonderful." Soon after that came graduation day. Chibi was the only one in our class honored for perfect attendance through all those 6 years. After school was over, the big boys would often have work to do in the village for their families, and sometimes Chibi would come to the village to sell charcoal and other things his family had made. Well, nobody called him Chibi anymore. We all called him Crow Boy. "Hi, Crow Boy." Crow Boy would nod and smile. He really, really liked hearing that. And when his work was done, he would buy a few things to bring back for his family. And then he would set off for his home on the far side of the mountain, and he would stretch his growing shoulders proudly, like a grown-up. And from around the turn of the mountain, you could hear a crow call. And it was a happy crow call. And that's the end of the story of the Crow Boy. I told you it would have a happy enough ending. Let's turn to our birthday cake. And we have a special birthday today. It's a dear friend of ours, Matthew Marchese. And Matthew started coming to the children's library when he was like a newborn. And he came all the years for story hour and pizza and paperbacks and family book night. And now he's graduating from high school and will be starting college in September. But today is his birthday. So we'll be singing to Matthew. I wonder what kind of cake Matthew's going to have. Let me check my votes. We've gotten some. Oh, we have a lot of votes today. People got in touch yesterday and this morning. Our chocolate will be Nicholas, Ben, B, Riley, Allison, Maeve, Molly, Graham, and Henry. Vanilla, we'll have Emily, Haley, Teddy, Amelia, Alice, Joseph, Audrey, Lila, and Elliot. All right, let me do the counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chocolate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 9 chocolate, 9 vanilla. The same as yesterday. It's a perfectly even cake. How great is that? Well, let's sing. Let's sing to Matthew. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matthew. Happy birthday to you. Put the cake down and let me reach over, Oberon. What do we have? Oh, here we go. I think some of you are going to guess tomorrow's story. Put him aside. Put him down there. All right, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, cameraman Dan. Thank you, Oberon. And remember, I love you all very, very much.